Hello, and welcome back. As you can see, I'm outside once again. It's so beautiful. It's hard not to smile when your body feels nice and calm, when the temperature is just right for this vessel, your vessel. This talk is going to be about what brings a lot of what we think are the problems in life, how we deal with a lot of the problems that we think are there on the level of, on the surface level. Many of the problems that we think are problems today are due to us getting lost on the superficial, the very top layer of what people say. When we involve ourselves too deeply onto the words people choose to use, when people believe something so much, so deeply that they are offended to the point which they need to defend their belief. When people communicate on this level, on this surface level, you're going to see conflict everywhere. And when that is the world you live in, if that is the level of your being that you identify with as who you are, who people are, all you're going to see around you is conflict. Because on the superficial layer, on the very top layer of how we communicate, is our beliefs. The things we believe others should be doing. The things we believe we're doing right and they're doing wrong. You see, for the ego, to be wrong means to die. It's painful to be wrong for the ego. You may have seen this in yourself when you're arguing with someone. And this person is really trying hard to stand up for what they believe in. You may see the damage you're doing. You may realize that in that moment, it would benefit everyone if you were to let go of the situation. You could see it, but for some reason you can't. For some reason, this person can't. And the conflict remains and continues. When all both parties need to do is just open up and the clash will disappear. But that's very difficult to do when you identify who you are on the level of your personality, your beliefs, words, your expression through your thoughts. Conflict comes completely from this level. Of course it does. If you believe, let me take a quick detour here. Throughout history, there are millions of people who had been burned, killed, because they didn't believe what this group of people believed. All wars, even today, all fights, all conflicts, either between two or millions or billions, are caused from differing beliefs. There's only one cure. There's only one way past conflict. There's only one way to dissolve all conflict in your life. And when I say this, I'm not saying that people won't try to fight with you, and I'm not saying that sometimes you won't feel the urge to defend yourself. All I'm saying is conflict itself comes from an unclear state of mind, a state of mind where you're not really connected to who you are underneath the mind's story. We have forgotten that we are spiritual beings. We're not this. All the thoughts that come into your mind is not you. Oftentimes you see people say, "That's just who I am." And when they say that's just who I am, they're referring to the things that they've done. Well, I did this and this, I do that often, I tend to do this. Well, that's just who I am. And it's not who you are. Those are the things that you've done. Who you are is the watcher behind the actions. You see, if you were those actions, you wouldn't have any space between that you could watch yourself as you're doing them. You may have the ability to contemplate, look back through your memory, but there's an aspect of you that can watch this happening as it's happening. You are the spirit behind the actions this form takes. And it's only when you're lost in the form that you feel conflict, that you feel there's a fight, that you feel the urge to defend yourself, that you feel the urge to fight with others. This person's wrong, this person's right. That only comes on the superficial layer. And it's not to say that it's wrong either. Now, what a beautiful day. The real problem, which is not a problem, which is a direction, a path, which is something we need to come to realize ourselves, is that we're not this flesh. We need to learn how to, and Eckhart Tolle uses the, he speaks about this in terms of identification. When you identify who you are as your form, your thoughts and your body and so on, then you lose yourself on that level. But when you can learn to identify yourself with that which watches all the happening, there becomes a space. And I speak about this often because it's so powerful in my experience. It's such a reality for me, and I've seen what it does. And I really just want to help share this with other people that might not have made this realization, or to those who lose themselves more than they think they'd like to. There's a deeper layer. There is a way to exist that even though this shell acts in certain ways, that it doesn't feel like a conflict, that it doesn't feel like a fight, that the personal nature of what is going on this level doesn't have the ability for you to do something that you look back later as something you regret. You lose that aspect that feels what you're doing is wrong. You stop hating yourself. You stop beating yourself up for doing the things that you think you shouldn't. You drop having to justify your actions in order to be right. You see past all of the drama that you create in your own life and in the life of others to the point of which you're able to let it go, and a deeper sense of fulfillment, a deeper sense of being, of calm, of peace, which is beyond this world and part of this world at the same time. If we all knew who we were, there would not be any fight in the world. But that's easier said than done. It's not to say you'd never see two people fighting, but it wouldn't be like this. It would be like this. What else to say? When you can sit in yourself, if a person can learn, and I don't like giving tools, I don't like giving, but sometimes they help. If a person can learn to meditate, if a person can learn to be still inside themselves long enough, I call it long looking. If you can just look and watch, you will see all the aspects of you. And some of it is painful, some of it is beautiful. And at some point, you realize you're none of those things. You realize that if you can sit there behind all of it and watch it all happening in you, it's not you that's doing these things. I've had many experiences during meditation and during all of these practices that a person tries when they're looking to discover themselves, to know thyself. I've had so many mind-blowing, life-changing, just shattering experiences. And one of the most powerful ones that completely changed my life, was the realization that everything that happens on this level, it's not you doing any of it. And this disintegrates, dissolves the personal nature of how you feel about things happening. I use this example often, or sometimes. It's like watching a character in a movie. You feel almost like you're just watching it in a chair. And in this way, when you're watching the character, how many times do you catch yourself saying, oh, he shouldn't be doing that, oh, don't do that? And that's because, as the watcher, you remain separate. You remain unattached to the outcome. You remain separate from the surface level of what the actor's doing in the movie. This person in the movie is lost in the story and the drama and the beliefs and the personal nature of what's going on, right? And you, as the viewer of the movie, can see much more clearly. It seems so obvious what a person should be doing in any given situation when you are watching another person do it. And when you can learn to disidentify with the surface level of who you are, on this level of form, on this level, on this plane, the personality, your ego, your urge to defend yourself and justify, when you can drop this and realize it's not who you are, any situation that comes forth in your life, you see as that viewer in the back. And you remain in a position where you can see what needs to be done, when it needs to be done. You live your life gracefully, as opposed to entangled with everything that's going on, and you don't become stuck. You're able to flow into people's lives, and as necessary, flow out of people's lives. It doesn't become a fight, it simply becomes a conversation, and you're able to part when it's necessary without adding any extra that doesn't need to be there. So how do you do this? That's the question. The Buddha, Jesus, Osho, Sadhguru today, Eckhart Tolle, Lao Tzu, there's the church bells. All of them speak about the truth, the deeper truth of who you are underneath. When they talk about dying and being reborn, when you hear Jesus talk about this, being reborn, he's not talking about a physical rebirth. He's talking about allowing the ego to die, an ego death. The ability for you to let go of things, and not only things, let go of the entire structure of the ego altogether. I've gone through this ego death myself. As painful as it was, as beautiful as it was, I disappeared. And the I that speaks to you now is not the I that was then. Only in seeing who you are not can who you are be revealed to you. And in learning to let go of who you are not, by dismantling all of your beliefs, looking at them and letting them go, does who you truly are manifest, and only from that position can all conflict be dissolved in your life. And you will laugh, and you will cry, and you will laugh, and you will laugh, and you will laugh, and you will laugh at the personal nature, at how personal things used to be. You will laugh more than you've ever laughed in your entire life. The sun will shine on you, and you will laugh that you could not have enjoyed such beauty before. Wherever you are around the world, whatever time it is, thank you for taking the time to watch this, to reconnect back to yourself. Thank you. I appreciate you. Peace.